What's up, my comic comrades? Today, in honor of Uatu narrating the What If animated series on Disney+, we're here to give you guys the comic book origin of the Watchers. Commissioner Gordon, Jeffrey Wright, is voicing the Watcher for the MCU's first animated series, but we're going to tell you who his character is and where the Watchers come from. And everything you need to know, if you will. Having said that, Marvel's What If animated series isn't the first time the Watchers have popped up in the MCU. We actually first saw them listening to Stan Lee during his cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So it's going to be fun to see their role expand in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But before we dive in, we want to thank Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's episode. Raid is an epic fantasy RPG where you use hundreds of artifacts to equip and develop over 500 champions, then take on raid bosses, dungeon runs, campaign battles, PvP arena matches, and much more. And right now you can use our links in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to download Raid on your phone or PC. And when you do, you'll be joining a massive community of players. In fact, over 76 million people have played Raid to date, which is almost 4 times the population of New York's metro area. And I'm talking players from 195 different countries around the world. The game has a ton of features, but building our roster of champions continues to be our favorite part of the game. And we just learned that our go-to champion Kale is actually the most used champion among all players for taking on the clan boss, as well as several dungeon bosses and campaign battles. Kale is also a member of our longtime favorite faction, the Dark Elves. And it turns out that we're far from being alone there as well, because the Dark Elves are the most used faction by players overall, with the least used being champions from the Skinwalkers faction. Anyway, this month Raid released a ton of amazing new clan features and improvements, including new quests for you and your clan members to work on together, new benefits for every clan member just for being in a clan, and even a brand new clan shop that gives you access to some really powerful items. This month Raid has also added new champions to collect from the fragments in the Doom Tower and a bunch of events and competitions to take part in. So don't wait around, use our link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to download Raid Shadow Legends right now. And all new players will get the epic hero Kanoru from the dope Shadowkin faction, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon another awesome champion as soon as you get in game. Once you get started, all these rewards will be waiting for you in your inbox right here for the first 30 days. So click our link and we'll see you in the game. With that covered, let's check out the Watcher's origin in Marvel Comics. The Watchers first appeared in Fantastic Four 13 in April of 1963. They were created by the two most prolific creators in comics, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. The easiest way to sum up the Watchers is just by saying they are an all-powerful race of alien beings, and their job is to watch over Marvel's multiverse, but never interfere with what's going on, only watch. Hence the name Watchers. With that said, they have broken their oath several times throughout the years in comics. Most recently, off the top of my head, the Watcher Uatu, who's charged with observing Earth and its solar system, broke this oath during the last issue of the King in Black symbiote Spider-Man series. He did so when he helped a version of the Guardians of the Galaxy defeat Mystery. Now, not only are the Watchers some of the most powerful beings in the universe, they're also some of the oldest beings in the universe. Each Watcher is given a section of the universe to observe, with Uatu being the one that looks over our main Marvel universe, as I just mentioned. Anyway, the Watchers have insane technology and thought it was their job to protect the universe from any and all evil or harm. So a very, very long time ago, they gave nuclear technology to another alien race called Persilicans. The problem is, like Earthlings, they use the nuclear technology for war. This greatly saddened the Watchers, as they just wanted to help advance their species and not have the Persilicans use what they gave them for war. Because of the Watchers' interference leading to them creating technology for war, the Watchers vowed they would never interfere with any event in the universe ever again. It would just observe and record. Essentially, the Persilicans were that one kid at elementary school that just because he or she was acting out, the whole class didn't get to go to recess. Just ruined it for everyone. Now, you know how I keep reiterating the Watchers are some of the most powerful beings in the universe? Well, this is gonna really put it in perspective for you. The Watchers would often come into conflict with the Celestials, who, as all comic book or Marvel fans know, are essentially gods of the Marvel universe. Anyway, the Watchers would come into confrontation with the Celestials because the different way the Celestials would judge species. You see, the Celestials are of the mindset that if a race couldn't keep up with their genetic standards, they would use their godlike strength and force to be like, be gone with you. While the Watchers just believed in watching and recording, not killing off entire races because they didn't reach the standards of the Celestials. So because of their opposite point of views, they would often fight. It's kind of crazy that the Watchers are on par with the Celestials, or at least extremely close, and could even stand up fighting to them. I feel like a lot of people don't know that, but that's what we do here on Variant. We spread the comic book knowledge. You're welcome. Now, since the Watchers just observe and store their knowledge, you may be asking, well, where do they store their collective knowledge? Do they just keep it in their big heads? Is that why their heads are so big? And I'm not really sure why their heads are so big, and quite frankly, it's kind of rude of you to point that out. But I do know they store their collective knowledge in something called the Cyclopedia Universum. In it is stored the collective knowledge of every Watcher who ever lived. It is the history of the universe. Anyway, as far as the Watcher's first appearance, like I said at the beginning of the episode, we first see one of the Watchers in Fantastic Four issue 13. And in it, the Watcher's doing what he's not supposed to do: intervene. He's literally stopping a fight between the Fantastic Four and their villain Red Ghost, who has 3 superpowered apes at his disposal. The Watcher says, "Cease the useless conflict." The Watcher commands it. "Hear my words, you of Earth. I come from a world so far from here you do not suspect its existence. Our entire whole planet is a vast computer." He goes on to say that his people roam the entire universe, watching, observing other worlds, and that he's witnessed the death of worlds that were older than the Earth's entire galaxy. And worst of all, the Watchers have seen one noble race that turned savage and warlike with the passing of time, a fate which your own foolish breed seems headed for. But during all the ages, we have never done anything but watch. Never have we interfered. Never have we made our presence known. But now I have broken the silence of centuries in order to save your people from savagery. And just like that, we have the first appearance of the Watcher. In recent years, Uatu was killed. He was helping Earth's heroes for X, Y, and Z reasons, and then was shot in the head by Nick Fury. I'm not gonna get into the whole why of it all because it's a whole big to-do, but Fury had his reasons. And once Uatu was dead, Fury took the one remaining eyeball he had left, as he had his previous eye stolen by the orb. Essentially though, Fury needed Uatu's eye as it was the only thing that contained the evidence Fury needed to identify the criminals of the situation. Again, it's a whole big to-do that we don't really need to get into for our purposes. But this is comics, so in 2020, in Empire Fallout Fantastic Four issue 1, it was revealed that Uatu is back from the dead. Can you believe it? A comic book character died, and years later, they brought him back. I would have never thought they would have done that. Now back from the dead, he says, there shall be a reckoning. But now that you got a summary of what the Watchers are all about, let's talk a little bit about their powers and abilities. Now, believe it or not, this is actually going to be very short and simple because the Watchers, being the cosmic beings they are, can pretty much do whatever the heck they want. Like they're described as being able to possess the innate ability to achieve virtually any effect desired. That means they could augment entire realities, manipulating space and time, and manipulate people and things on a molecular level, which in layman terms just means they can create and destroy life when they please. So of course, them having all sorts of energy projection abilities and an almost limitless range of mental powers is a no-brainer. Again, they're basically on par with the Celestials, making them gods in their own right. So if someone asks you how powerful the Watchers are, the correct answer is yes. As for Watcher reading recommendations, check out the Fantastic Four issue 13, King in Black Symbiote Spider-Man, Original Sin, Empire Fallout Fantastic Four issue 1, pretty much all the What If series, and of course, probably the most popular Watcher story, The Coming of Galactus, which starts in Fantastic Four issue 48. That should be enough to get you all started. And just like that, that brings today's episode of Variant to a close. But if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. It always helps the channel grow. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time when we talk about all things comics.